I wanted to go through the process of creating an active zone and a virtual motion sensor to show how the BLRadar plugin for HS4 doesn't show me on a pick list the devices that I just created or make them readable. So let's create the two devices. We're going to add the active zone first. So I'm going to create a virtual device, name it test active zone root, and we'll create it in location test, function test, and save. And then we're going to rename control to active zone. Okay, now we have a device for the active zone. Now let's do the same thing for a motion sensor. I'll call this one test motion sensor root. Save that one, and same locations, test, test. And now we're going to modify this one from control to motion sensor. And that feature is what we're going to apply each of the active zone and the motion sensor to this feature. So reference number 774 for the active zone and 776 for the motion sensor. Now we're going to go into BLRadar and add those devices. BLRadar sensors. Let's do the active zone first. Do a new sensor. Pick the name. We're going to do the letter T for test. And there it is. Test active zone, test motion, and there's the root devices. So we just want, let's start with active zone. Type active zone. I'm leaving the virtual device reference blank, sensor recovery time, dead battery, motion sensor wait time, all of that stuff, leaving it blank. It has an echo for motion and no motion. These used to be an HS3 occupied.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Excuse me, sorry about that. That is a device that's also has that name. Unknown is unknown, etc. And here's the stuff for when it goes active and when it goes off. So I'm just going to save that. And here's the test active zone. It finds the reference 774, which is what we expect. And down here you see motion, dust on sensors, and active zones. There's a checkbox, but with nothing listed here. There's nothing to pick from. There's a checkbox that can be checked and unchecked, but there's no text. There should be text there. So anyhow, let's save that off again and scroll back down, and once again, nothing's there. So there's the problem. Now let's create the motion sensor. So now let's go down to test and test motion sensor. And as you can see, the plugin does remove from the list the recently added test active zone. So now we just have test motion sensor. We pick that, device type motion sensor, sensor recovery time, let's call it 1 minute. And we can ignore all the other ones. And again, by the way, active zones here at the bottom, before I add it, you can see that there's nothing listed to even add it to. There's nothing displayed. I'm going to hit save. Now we have the motion sensor. When I scroll back down and look at that bottom list again, nothing in the active zone. That should be the test active zone, but nothing's displayed there. And when I go back to the test active zone, I should have a list of the motion sensors that can be added to. I have two checkboxes now. I don't know what either one of them corresponds to. So that's that. And if I go to the devices, I do see the motion sensor and I do see the active zone. If I turn on the motion sensor, and I guess I refresh the browser, I do get a motion. And that should run for about a minute and then it should turn off. But there's the crux of this problem. I don't know how to resolve that.